Hey, everybody, I'm back again. And today we're talking about something that we've all experienced because unfortunately, inevitably, it is part of life. And that is the word stress. So it could be anything stressful. Everything bothers us, it seems like these days. I mean, what are causes of stress? We have work, deadlines, job insecurity, heavy workloads. We have relationship stress. We have conflicts, breakups, caregiving responsibilities, familial things, children that are going through stuff. We have financial stress. We have bills. We have debt. We have loss of income. We have health stresses, chronic illness, injuries, just the health things that go along with the chronic stress. We have life changes. Sometimes we move because of a job, or we lose our marriage, or we lose a loved one. All of these things can cause stress. Now, what's important to know is that just like a traumatic event doesn't have to necessarily turn into trauma, something that follows you along forever, the same thing happens with stress. A stressful event does not have to necessarily become chronic stress. And there's lots of reasons for that and lots of ways we can and we can help that and we can deal with that. But it's important to understand why stress matters, why understanding stress is important. Because chronic stress, the kind of stress that stays with you forever and ever and just doesn't go away and eats away at your body and your mind and your health and your mental well-being, that is that is bad for you. That is the kind of stress we want to get rid of. That is what ultimately will lead to anxiety, depression, and also eventually will deteriorate your physical health. Stress and chronic stress increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and so many other illnesses. So, learning to kind of manage your stress can improve things overall, improve your overall well being, your relationships, and your quality of life. But if left unchecked, it can become a destructive factor in your life. It can literally, like I said, do all the damage that I talked about before. And we do not want that because ultimately, what is our ultimate goal? It is serenity, it is peace, it is happiness, it is calm. And while we can't guarantee that those serenity, happiness, peace, and calm will be with us forever, we can work towards the place in our life where after a stressful event, we go back to the serenity, the peace, the calm. So you're probably asking me, what do I do? How do I deal with it in different ways? So we talked about there being the stress that's happening right this moment, something that you can kind of stave off for the moment. And we're talking about the stress that is the chronic stress that stays with you for a long time. I want to talk first about what we can do to kind of stave off the immediate stress. So something stressful happens in your job, something triggers you, something makes you angry. What can you do? What can you do to kind of lower that stress level in the moment? And there's a couple things you can do. One, you can focus on your breathing. I've talked a lot in my podcast episodes about going back to the box breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it. And all this time, I'm picturing a box. So I inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold again for 4 seconds. In my mind, while I'm doing that, if you can't see me, if you're on Apple and you're not on YouTube, I'm looking up with my eyes, I'm closing my eyes, I'm breathing in, looking up for 4, holding for 4, looking over to the right, exhaling for 4, looking down, and then holding for 4, looking left. So I'm making a box in my mind. Not only does that control your breathing, slow down your breathing, but it focuses you on something different other than the stressful situation at hand. Another one is just engaging your senses or grounding. One of my favorite methods, again, I've used it before, is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. So when something stressful happens, look around the room. Talk about 5 things you can see. And you can do this in your mind. So right now I could look around and I could go 5 things I can see. My fish tank. Oh, look at that bird on the wall. A live, love, laugh poster. Wow, my lamps need a little dusting, whatever it is. 5 things you can see. And then 4 things you can touch. How does your skin feel? How does the blanket next to me feel? How does my dog feel? Whatever it is, 4 things you can touch. And then 3 things you can hear. Focus on what you can hear. Right now, I can hear my dog snoring. I can hear the fish tank gurgling, and I can hear a little bit of wind outside, which in itself relaxes my stress level. Two things you can smell, and then one thing you can taste. So that is called, it's a grounding exercise, and it's just the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Again, it refocuses you back to the present, and it kind of takes you out of that stressful situation. Another one I really like is progressive muscle relaxation. So you start with your feet and just tense them up for 4 or 5 seconds and then relax. And then tense up your calves 5 seconds and then relax. And then your knees and your quads and your hips and your buttocks. Go all the way up through your entire body, all the way up to your head, tightening every single muscle and then relaxing. Tensing and relaxing your muscles helps relieve some of the physical tension that is caused by stress. Another one is repeating a calm phrase or an affirmation. So if you're stressed out a little bit, just say to yourself, I am safe. I can handle this. I am safe. I'm safe right now. I can handle this. Or this moment will pass. This is just a stressful moment. I'm going to get through this. This too shall pass. So repeating a calming phrase or affirmation is a good one. Another one is temperature change. If you have a heating pad, put a heating pad on the back of your neck or a cold compress, splash cold water on your face. When you apply cold water, you literally immediately lower your heart rate and it calms you down. So you can, again, sometimes it's just a temperature change. I love stepping into my hot tub. That's hot. That's a hot temperature change. And it immediately changes my whole body, my whole body feels. But the cold compress, when people go into shock, what do? They put a cold towel on the back of their neck immediately because it changes the state, it changes your heart rate, really changes your entire body right in the moment. Another one is practicing visualization. So just close your eyes and picture yourself somewhere else. Always know, and I say any exercise for calming stress or anxiety is better done if it's done when you're calm and you're not stressful, because then becomes second nature. So practice, just know what that happy place is that you're going to take yourself to in that visualization. Mine is always the beach. I can close my eyes and I can picture the beach and I can hear the sounds and I can smell the salt water and I can go through all the senses without actually being there because I've been there so many times and I practice it so many times. So practice somewhere that you love. Close your eyes and picture that, a beach, a forest, a pool, whatever it is, and focus on all the sensations and all the senses around that situation. So when you start getting stressed, you can close your eyes and you can take yourself back there. Another one is chewing gum, sipping water, or humming. And this works because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system and it signals relaxation. We do some talks and I have some podcast episodes. Somebody came in and talked entirely on the vagus nerve, and humming, chewing gum, swallowing, that all stimulates the vagus nerve, which works on the parasympathetic nervous system. So again, hum that favorite song, hum happy birthday, hum the ABCs, whatever it is, chew gum, sip water, do anything you can to stimulate that vagus nerve because it calms you down. The other thing is use the power of touch. How about just giving yourself a big hug, pressing the palms of your hands over your chest. Sometimes that calms you down. It's providing comfort to yourself. It's providing grounding. So the power of touch is very, very strong. Sometimes just grabbing that soft blanket or squeezing a stress ball, something that you're comfortable with that makes you feel good. Next one is, and I go back to a lot because I love them, is try something with aromatherapy. I love essential oils. And sometimes when I'm stressed out, just rubbing a little bit of lavender or chamomile on my palms and taking a deep breath can calm that nervous system again. Um, Lavender is my absolute favorite and my go-to. Sometimes I carry jewelry with a little lava bead on it and I drop a thing of lavender on it. The girls I work with after absolutely love it. They're always coming to me saying, I need a little lavender, I need a little calm me down. And that is a great tool. It could be a candle that you like, a scented, a scented candle, a scented oil, diffusing something in your house, whatever it is. Aromatherapy is very, very, very powerful. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is kind of just stepping away. Sometimes when you're in a stressful situation, sorry, can't talk today, the best thing you can do is just change your environment. Give your brain a chance to rest and a chance to slow down. So if you can't sit right there, if the stressful situation is right there in your face, take a walk, get outside. Pretend you have to go to the bathroom if you're dealing with people. Whatever it is, just kind of step away from the situation. So I hope that was a little helpful in things that you can do kind of in the moment. But in the long term, we really want to know one, what are the things that we can do long term? What are the things that we can do that really, really, really help us deal with this chronic stress? And because those are the big things, those are the things that you want to practice every day. I mean, there's all kinds of chronic stress that we deal with. We have the emotional stress of every day. We have physiological stress, like um, a disease, or you might have arthritis, things that just constantly are making your body feel bad. We have acute stress, which are things like I have to give a speech or a deadline's coming up. The chronic stress is things like a toxic relationship or financial struggles, things that you go through for a long period of time. We have emotional or psychological stress that is caused by events like grief, trauma, or conflict. We have those physical stresses, like I said, a disease, an injury, or just getting physically burned out. And then we have things like environmental stresses. That is our pollution, hot and cold, extreme temperatures, storms, epidemics, like all of that stuff that is outside. So there's all kinds of different stress. And in that, it only makes sense that you would have to use all kinds of different ways to deal with them. So, what are some of these ways? One is just creating healthy boundaries. If you tend to overcommit yourself, you're going to lead yourself to an emotionally stressful and emotionally exhaustive state. So start creating healthy boundaries. Practice saying no without guilt. If this is something that you wrestle with, my friends, you are not alone. In my course, Trials to Triumph, where we take 8 weeks to go over all the different aspects of being an adult child of an alcoholic or a dysfunctional family, we literally spend a week to 2 weeks on just boundaries, how to say no without guilt, how to set clear limits. But that is a good way and a good starting point to start slowing down some of this chronic stress. Things, if once you set a boundary, things become a little easier. That same stressor will not get you over and over and over again. And once you've created boundaries, you've put them in place, and you're finding that people are abiding them, whoa, it frees up your anxiety of going into those situations because you have resolved that conflict. The second one I would say probably one of the most important is practicing self-care consistently. A lot of times when you're dealing with chronic stress, you forget to take care of yourself. You forget your sleep, you forget good nutrition, you forget getting out and being active. So try to incorporate joyful activities, reading books, hobbies, things you like, time in nature. Try to incorporate those things into your life on a daily practice. Another one is identify and address some of the triggers that cause stress for you. If you can identify them ahead of time, not only sometimes can you help stay out of situations that won't put you there, but you can learn to work through them. I tell people once you identify a stressor or a trigger, keep a journal, write them down, because then you can work with a therapist or you can work with a coach on coping mechanisms when that particular stressor comes up. And again, it is so, so much easier to work on a stressor or to work on a coping mechanism when you're not in the fight or flight, when you're not in that highly reactive state. So another one, use grounding techniques. Sometimes it's those breathing exercises. Sometimes it's the box breathing. Sometimes it's focusing on the ground. Sometimes it's just sitting and being aware of where you are. How does it feel with your bottom on the seat? How does it feel when your feet touching the ground? One of the things I absolutely love for a grounding technique is I love to just visualize a bright, white, powerful, positive energy coming in through the crown of my head, going through all of my body. So go through my throat, go through my heart, go through my solar plexus, go through my root chakra, which is right in my hip area, and then just go through all, envision a powerful, like I said, this powerful universal light, whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, positivity, aura, whatever you want to call it. But I love pulling it in through my head, going through my entire system, and then pushing it down out of my body directly to the center of the earth. So it literally is pulling me and grounding me from the highest, utmost point in the universe, up high in heavens, wherever you want to call it, down to the center of the earth. And it's one of my favorite grounding exercises. I can literally sometimes feel the positive energy coming in through my body, and then I push that negative energy out through the bottom. Doing that about 3 or 4 times literally lowers my stress level like you wouldn't believe. So that is just one grounding technique. Again, all these things I'm mentioning is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many different things you could use. We talk about them all the time in my coaching, in my group, um, in my course, whatever it is. Jump on my podcast. Any of these things we talk about on a regular basis, so you can get more information on them. The next thing I would say is engage in inner child work, because a lot of times the undealt with childhood emotions are what are making the stress as adulthood so much worse. So that's why we tend to overreact, or how we react and how we deal with some of the stress doesn't always fit the stress, the stressful situation. So why it might be something that would be seemingly very not so stressful, because we are reacting and we are overreacting from a child perspective, it seems much more stressful. So again, in my course, we go through weeks of inner child work just to learn how to reconnect with that inner child, reparent your inner child. A good thing you can do right now, if you don't have time to do all that, is just write a letter to your youngering self. Youngering. Wow, that was a crazy word. Write a letter to your younger self. Offer validation and reassurance. Tell yourself that you're safe, that you're here and you're safe, and you're there to be protected, and you're protected. Sometimes just that will lower your stress level. Next thing, learn how to reframe negative thoughts. As the adult child of an alcoholic family or dysfunctional family or divorce or just any amount of chaos, sometimes we have developed this very, very harsh inner critic. So when a negative thought pops up, use affirmation or reframe that negative thought, or replace it with positive self-talk. So when something stressful happens and you immediately jump on yourself and get angry about how you reacted, tell yourself that you're doing the best you can, and it was exactly how you would expect to be reacting based on everything going on. But that's not the way reality is. It's not as bad as it seems. This too shall pass. Use all those reframing to get back to out of that negative thought and into a positive thought. Also, challenge those negative thoughts. So when you're stressed out and the negative self-critic comes and it tells you something you don't like, challenge it. Is this really true? Is this really the way I am? I'll give you an example because I love real life examples. If you make a mistake, instead of saying, and your immediate thought that pops into your mind is, God, I'm stupid. Challenge that. Tammy, what makes you think you're stupid? You just made a mistake. I can show you 10 times that you were super intelligent. Challenge the belief, because it's beliefs coming from your subconscious mind. So challenge them. Make yourself give you evidence to those negative thoughts. And then 9 times out of 10, I promise you, you're going to reframe them. You're going to be able to turn them around and you're going to think of the positive. But takes practice again. But challenge your negative patterns, challenge negative thoughts because you gave those negative thoughts to yourself so long ago. You gave those beliefs to yourself so long ago by things that happened, things that you saw, things you experienced, things that you were told to you. And so often they're not true. 9 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100, they're not true. But they're the beliefs that we've stored in our mind, in our subconscious mind. And we need to start challenging them so we can start to see the good and the positive and the love in ourselves. Next thing I would say is start practicing mindfulness, meditation, learn how to just kind of be in the present. It's, it helps you reduce stress for past things and future things because if we can stay in the present, what we're doing is we're right here right now, and whatever we think about is what is the reality of it. So how much time do you spend stressing about something from the past, or how much time do you spend catastrophizing about something in the future based on something that happened in the past? So it's a belief of something that's going to happen in the future. No, just concentrate on the here and now. And that, again, that is very hard to do sometimes. You can sit and I did a whole episode on meditation one-on-one, 101, how you can start to learn how to meditate and to just get into the present at any moment in your day, any moment in your day. So start learning. And again, if you just Google ways to learn mindfulness or practices to start meditation, you're going to find infinite articles, tons of YouTube videos. You're going to find all the information you need to get started on that. Again, this is just a tip, but we do cover mindfulness, meditation, practices, how to get started, journaling. We cover all of that in my course, Trials to Triumph. Love to have you try it out. The last thing I'm going to say is, well, I've got a couple more things I'm going to say actually. One, get out and move. Any kind of physical movement releases endorphins, reduces stress hormones, and makes you feel better. Do you have to take an entire yoga class? No. Sometimes it's just 5 to 6 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Get up, do 10 jumping jacks, run around your living room, laugh, make yourself laugh, stretch your arms, dance, walk, anything that you can do is going to release those positive endorphins, and the positive endorphins and the positive hormones are going to combat the negative ones and the stressful ones, the cortisol, the adrenaline. Just get up and move. I love it. When my kids were little, we didn't ever just sing the ABCs. We danced the ABCs. We made them with our hands. We jumped up and down. If you can't see me, you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but I'm making an A. You guys all know that song YMCA, where every wedding, every fun situation, do it. Just do the alphabet with your body. If that's what it takes, it doesn't matter. Just have fun with it and move your body. The next thing I will say is limit your exposure to toxic relationships. I know that's a hard one, but if someone is in your life or in the situation or in the moment that is toxic and is making you feel stressful, get away. Gradually reduce your contact with that person. Start setting your own boundaries. I know I had a client that was having some issues with one of their siblings, and I literally said, if they were not your sibling, would they be in your life? And she said to me, absolutely not. I said, well, think about that. Yes, you're not going to cut off contact with your entire family right this second, but reduce the time. Talk to them. If you can't make it a positive relationship, you have to, for your own well-being, start separating yourself from some of those toxic relationships. I know we're going up towards the holidays now, and some people are going to be around a lot of people that are the people that cause them the stress and the people that cause them the negativity in their lives. So limit your exposure as much as you can, and also go in armed. If you need some tips and tricks on how to go into these meetings, especially around the holidays with people that have caused some of the toxicity in your life, reach out to me. Let's talk. But that's a big one. If someone is toxic in your workplace, stay away. If you meet someone and you get red flags and it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Stay away. That's just going to reduce the amount of stress in your life in general. And the last one I'm really going to say is focus on your small wins. If you can find something that is a small win every day, or 5 things to be grateful for every day, or 10 things to be happy about every day, those are wins. And every single win will lower your stress. Focus on the wins. Overwhelm sometimes is something that we are dealing with because we're dealing with these big, heavy, hard to get at goals, these big things we have to tackle. Break things into small things and focus on every single tiny win, because that, my friends, is how you build momentum. So I've said a lot to say a little, but at the end of the day, again, we're reaching for calm, we're reaching for peace, we're reaching for less stress in our lives, a little serenity. So when you run up against a situation and you have a crossroads and you have a decision to make the one for your own well-being that is going to lead you to a more stress-free, harmonious, peaceful, enjoyable life. Because no matter what you think, no matter what your past has told you, no matter what you've been conditioned to believe, you are deserving of a stress-free, peaceful, harmonious, happy, joyful life. I promise you. And every day, if you can make a step to drop some of that stress, it's going to add a little happiness. You only have 24 hours in the day, right? 24 hours in the day. The more of them you can make stress-free, the better it's going to be. Again, if you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, please drop them in the comments below. Reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I have a toolbox full of ways to alleviate stress and anxiety, ways to tackle stress and anxiety, and ways to have a more peaceful life. And I'd love to talk to you about it. Thank you. God bless. And I will see you back here next week. Bye.